Jack Mercer lived alone in a small cabin in the mountains of Colorado. He once was famous, a brave astronaut and skilled linguist who had been part of secret missions in space. But after one mission went wrong, Jack disappeared from public life. He no longer wanted the spotlight. He wanted peace. Then, one cold evening, everything changed. Jack sat near the fireplace, holding a warm cup of coffee, when his old satellite communicator suddenly blinked. It had been silent for years. The device beeped again. Jack stood up slowly. Confused, he pressed a button. A voice came through. This wasn't human. "This message is for Jack Mercer," the voice said in perfect English. "I am Queen Aurelia of Aurelia. Daughter is dying. Only you can save her. Please come." Jack froze. The voice sounded calm, but filled with sadness. A strange symbol appeared on the screen, shaped like a crystal star. Then the message ended. Jack sat down again, staring at the device. He thought it was a prank, but inside he knew it wasn't. Something about the voice felt real, familiar. The next morning, a black government car arrived outside Jack's cabin. Two people in suits stepped out. One of them was Agent Reed, an old contact from NASA. "We need to talk," Reed said. Jack let them inside. Reed opened a tablet and showed Jack the same message. This came through NASA's deep space system. It repeated every hour for 12 hours. The message only mentioned your name. Jack raised an eyebrow. "Why me?" "We were hoping you'd tell us," Reed said. Jack looked at the screen again. Then he sighed. "I think I know who this is, but I need to see her." 3 days later, Jack stood in a secure airbase. Silver craft hovered silently above the runway. It looked like a smooth floating diamond. Light shimmered off its sides. The air shimmered as a tall figure stepped out of the ship. She wore a long robe that glowed faintly, and her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were large, glowing with soft light. It was Queen Aurelia. She walked toward Jack with slow, graceful steps. Everyone around stood still, watching with wide eyes. When she reached him, she spoke softly. "Jack Mercer, you saved my daughter once. I'd beg you to save her again." Jack blinked. He now remembered. 20 years ago, during a hidden Mars mission, his team had found a small alien craft. Inside was a young alien girl, hurt and scared. Jack had helped her. He thought she died, but she had lived. "She's alive?" he asked. Aurelia nodded. "Yes, she is Princess Serena. But now she is dying from a rare illness. Our science cannot save her. Your DNA may hold the key." Jack hesitated. "Why only me?" Aurelia looked into his eyes. "'Cause your blood once mixed with hers when you saved her. It changed her body. You are now the only one who can help." The air around them was quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. Jack looked at the alien queen. Her face was full of pain and hope. He took a deep breath. "I'll go," Jack said. Inside the alien ship, everything was glowing. Softly walls made of crystal lights that floated in the air. Jack followed the queen through silent halls. No wires, no machines, just beauty and calm. They reached a room where the princess lay on a bed shaped like a flower. She looked peaceful, her skin glowing faintly. But she was weak. Aurelia stood beside her daughter. She sleeps most of the time. Her energy fades with each passing day. Jack stepped closer. Serena's face was familiar. Even after all these years, he remembered those same bright eyes on Mars. Aurelia continued. "We have tried everything. Medicine, energy, even mind fusion. Nothing works. But we discovered traces of your DNA in her body. It is the only thing that's keeping her alive." Jack placed a hand on the edge of the bed. "What do you need from me?" "A sample of your blood. Your help during the healing process," Aurelia said. Jack nodded slowly. "I'm in, but I need full trust, and I work alone." "You will have it," she replied. The ship left Earth and entered space quickly. Jack watched the stars fly by. Everything felt unreal, but also right. He looked at the stars and whispered, "Why me?" Maybe fate had chosen him. Maybe it was luck. But one thing was clear. The the life of a young alien princess now rested in his hands. He sat quietly in his new room aboard the ship. The journey ahead would be dangerous. He didn't know how to heal alien life. He didn't even know if he could. But deep inside, Jack knew he had to try. For her, for the girl he saved. Once before, the ship moved silently through space. Outside the window, stars sparkled like tiny diamonds in the dark. Jack Mercer sat in a soft seat, staring out, deep in thought. Queen Aurelia entered the room. Her robe glowed gently, and her face looked tired. She sat across from Jack and folded her hands in her lap. "I thank you again for coming," she said softly. Jack nodded. "I remember her now. On Mars. She was just a child." "Yes," the Queen said. "She had sneaked onto one of our research ships without permission. When the ship crashed on Mars, you found her. You risked your life to save her." Jack looked down. "I didn't know she was royalty. She was just a scared girl. She never forgot you," Aurelia said. "Shh. Used to draw pictures of you. In her mind, you were a hero." Jack sighed. "And now I might be the only one who can save her." "Yes," the Queen replied. "But when you saved her, your blood mixed with hers. It changed her. It's not fully Varelian anymore. It's not fully human. Either a hybrid, unique, but it made her body unstable. She is dying because of that." Jack frowned. "You knew this for years. Why wait till now?" "We did not know the truth until recently," Aurelia said. "Our scientists thought she was sick from a natural disease. But after many tests, we found your DNA. That's when we sent the message." Jack leaned back. "So you want my blood?" "Again, yes, but not just blood. We need your help during the healing process," the Queen explained. "It's not just a medical procedure. It's a connection. Emotional, mental. Your presence is needed." Jack raised an eyebrow. "You want me to stay close to her?" Aurelia nodded. "Exactly. Body responds to your energy. We believe your presence helps stabilize her life force." Jack shook his head slowly. "It's not science. That's something else." "Our science is different," the Queen said. "We do not separate body and mind the way humans do." Jack didn't fully understand, but he knew one thing. The girl he once saved was in danger again. He couldn't walk away. "All right," he said. "Tell me what to do." Later, Jack entered a chamber filled with glowing lights. In the center, Princess Serena floated gently above a round bed of crystal. She looked peaceful, but pale. Her breathing was slow. Her skin flickered with dim blue light. A Varelian scientist named Dr. Solari stood nearby. He had long arms and a calm voice. "She is stable for now," Dr. Solari said, "but she needs your energy soon. Please place your hand here." He pointed to a small glowing panel beside Serena. Jack hesitated, then placed his hand on it. Warm light spread from the panel into Serena's body. Her eyes moved slightly. She whispered something. Jack leaned closer. "Protect her," she said softly. Jack's heart skipped. She remembered him. Dr. Solari smiled. "Her mind still holds. The memory of your first meeting. That is good. It means the bond is strong." Jack looked at the young girl. No longer the child he saved, but still innocent and vulnerable. He made a silent promise he would not fail her. For the next few days, Jack stayed near Serena. He gave small blood samples and spent time talking to her, even when she slept. Sometimes she would wake for a few moments and smile at him. They shared stories. Jack spoke about Earth, the oceans, the trees, the way snow felt on skin. Serena spoke of Vareliate's floating gardens, singing winds, and glowing animals. Slowly, she grew stronger. One day she sat up for the first time. "Jack," she said, "do you still fly ships?" Jack laughed. "Not for a long time." "You should," she said. "You were brave on Mars." He smiled. "And you were curious. Still are, I bet." Aurelia entered the room and saw Serena sitting up. She covered her mouth in shock and joy. "She is healing," Dr. Solari said. "Faster than we hoped." Aurelia hugged her daughter gently. Then she looked at Jack with tears in her eyes. You are doing more than saving her body, the queen said. You're giving her hope. But not all were happy with the princess's recovery. In a hidden part of the ship, a tall figure watched the security screens. His name was Warlord Zarkon. He was strong, cruel, and hungry for power. If the girl lives, he growled, the queen stays in power. An assistant asked, should we stop the human? Zarkon's eyes narrowed. Yet, let the fool heal her. Then we strike. The people must see her fall. Then will they follow me. He turned away and vanished into the shadows. That night, Jack sat alone in the observation room. The stars outside looked peaceful, but something inside him felt uneasy. He knew this wasn't over, but for now, Serena was smiling again, and Jack had found a new purpose. The ship floated silently in deep space, the distant stars shining through the wide windows. Jack Mercer stood in a quiet hallway, his mind racing. The last few days had been like a dream. Princess Serena was getting better, stronger. But Jack could feel the weight of something darker, looming. He had been watching her heal. She smiled more now. She spoke more. And the energy in the room felt warmer whenever he was near her. But Jack couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The Varelian scientists had warned him that Serena's condition was only temporarily improved. The hybrid blood inside her body still caused dangerous instability. Every moment was a race against time. He found Queen Aurelia in the main control room, standing by a large window that looked out over the swirling colors of deep space. Is she better? The queen asked without turning around. Yes, Jack replied. But I can't promise it'll last. We need something stronger, something more stable. Aurelia's expression tightened. I knew this wouldn't be easy. We've tried everything. Jack, you know that. Jack nodded. I know, but your science. It's not enough. My blood might help, but I think there's more to it. There's an energy between us, her and me. A bond, it's not just science. Something else. Aurelia turned to him, her face full of concern. You're suggesting what? That. The bond between you and my daughter is the key? I don't know, Jack said, but I've seen it. When I'm near her, when I talk to her, her body responds differently. If we can control that, maybe it will be enough. The queen's eyes softened. I understand. But we are running out of time. Jack didn't need her to tell him that. He could feel it in the way Serena's energy flickered. Sometimes strong, sometimes weak. There was no certainty. It couldn't act soon. It could all be for nothing. Next morning, Jack entered Serena's healing chamber. She was awake, sitting up in the soft, glowing bed of crystal. She smiled when she saw him, and the warmth in her eyes made Jack's heart ache. How are you feeling today? Jack asked. Sitting down beside her, I feel stronger, she said softly. Thank you, Jack. You're always here. Jack smiled. I promised you I would be. I'm not going anywhere. Serena reached out, taking his hand in hers. You saved my life once. I don't want to lose it again. Jack squeezed her hand gently. I won't let that happen. But we need to do something different now. I think we need to use the connection between us, my blood, your energy. Serena looked at him with wide eyes. You think that will work? I don't know, Jack admitted. But it's the only thing we have left. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the ship, Warlord Zarkon was not happy. He had watched the princess grow stronger, and it made him furious. He had his own plans for Varelia, plans that didn't include a healthy princess. And certainly not one. With the power to change the future, Zarkon paced his private chamber, fists clenched. The queen will never let me lead the Varelians with her daughter alive. I'll need to take her down. His assistant, a tall alien with sharp features, stepped forward. What should we do, Warlord? Zarkon sneered. The human is helping. Her. That's the problem. If he continues to heal her, the queen will gain even more power. We need to stop him. Should we remove him? The assistant asked carefully. Zarkon thought for a moment, then shook his head. No, not yet. He's useful. But he must not succeed. We'll sabotage their efforts. We need to weaken the princess again. before she becomes too powerful. Turned to his assistant with a cruel smile. We have our ways. Back in the healing chamber, Jack and Serena began the next phase of their experiment. Dr. Solari stood by, his hands moving over a glowing panel. The air was thick with tension. We will need to synchronize your energy with Serena's, Dr. Solari explained. It is a delicate process. If we do it wrong, it could worsen her condition. Jack took a deep breath. He didn't fully understand the science behind it, but he trusted the Queen, and he trusted Serena. I'm ready, Jack said. He placed his hand on Serena's chest. Feeling the warmth of her body against his skin, slowly he focused, pushing his energy into her. The glow around them both grew brighter, and Jack could feel the bond between them like a thread of light connecting them. Serena's eyes fluttered open, and she smiled at him. Can you feel it? Jack asked. Yes, Serena whispered. Feel you, I feel. ... everything. The air around them shifted. Connection between them grew stronger, like a pulse. But then suddenly, the room shook. A loud crash echoed from outside. What was that? Jack shouted, pulling away from Seren. Dr. Solari's face turned pale. Someone is tampering with the ship's systems. The walls flickered, and the lights dimmed. Jack stood up quickly. It's Zircon. He's trying to sabotage us. On the bridge, alarms blared. Zarkon's forces had launched an attack, using the confusion to disable the ship's systems. It was a direct assault on Serena's healing process. Jack rushed through the halls. With Serena's safety on his mind, he knew that if Zarkon succeeded, it would all be over. As he ran, he caught a glimpse of the Queen, surrounded by guards. She looked worried. Jack. Aurelia called, her voice full of urgency. You have to stop him. He's trying to destroy everything we've worked for. I won't let him, Jack replied, determination in his voice. I'll protect. Serena, you have my word. With that, Jack rushed toward the control room, ready to face whatever came next. The ship trembled again, this time harder. Jack could feel the panic rising as alarms blared throughout the corridors. The walls flickered and dimmed as power began to fail. He ran, his heart pounding. Every second mattered now. He didn't know how much time they had before Zarkon's forces took full control, but he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't going to let Serena fall into the wrong hands, not after everything they had been through. Jack turned a corner, sprinting past, stunned crew members who were scrambling to maintain control. He pushed open a door to the command center where Queen Aurelia stood, her face pale but focused. Jack, you made it, she said urgently, stepping toward him. Zarkon's forces have already disabled half of the ship's systems. Be here any minute. I'll stop him, Jack replied firmly. Where's Serena? Aurelia's eyes flickered with fear. She's in her chamber, but she's not alone. Zarkon sent his best soldiers after her. You need to hurry. Didn't waste another second. Turned and ran, ignoring the warning lights and the sound of doors locking behind him. Every step brought him closer to the princess, closer to the one person who had changed his life in ways he never expected. Back in the healing chamber, Serena lay on the bed of glowing crystals, still weak but showing signs of improvement. Bond between her and Jack had grown stronger with each passing day. But now she felt a strange presence in the air, a feeling of danger. The door to her chamber slammed open, and in stepped two armed soldiers, their faces cold and unmoving. Serena's heart raced. She tried to sit up, but her body felt too weak. She looked around, desperate for a way to defend herself. Before the soldiers could approach her, the door slammed open again. Jack stood in the doorway, his eyes locked on the two intruders. Without hesitation, he moved forward, stepping between Serena and the soldiers. Get away from her, Jack commanded, his voice low and dangerous. The soldiers didn't move. One of them raised his weapon, but before he could fire, Jack was already in motion. He disarmed the soldier with a quick, fluid movement, throwing the gun to the side. The other soldier hesitated for a moment, but that was all Jack needed. Moved faster than anyone expected. Knocking the second soldier out with a swift punch. Stay down, Jack growled, turning to face Serena. Are you okay? Serena's eyes were wide with relief. Jack, you came for me? Always, he said, helping her to sit up. But we don't have much time. Zarkon's forces are already attacking the ship. We need to leave. Now, Serena nodded, though she still seemed weak. I'll be fine. But what about my mother? I'll get her, Jack said. But we have to hurry. As Jack helped Serena to her feet, he could hear the distant sounds of blaster fire and shouting echoing down the halls. He could feel the ship shaking again, and he knew that Zarkon wasn't wasting time. The warlord's plan was clear: destroy the Queen's power and take control of Varelia. And if Serena died in the process, all the better. The corridor was chaotic. Crew members were running, trying to escape the chaos. Some were fighting back, but most were too afraid to take action. Jack had no time to waste on them. He needed to get Serena to safety, and he needed to do it fast. He led Serena down the hall, his senses on high alert. They turned a corner, only to be stopped by a group of Zarkon's soldiers. They raised their weapons, blocking the way. Jack's heart raced. He couldn't afford to fight them all. Not now, not when Serena was so close. But before Jack could make a decision, a loud, commanding voice rang out. Enough. Queen Aurelia's voice echoed through the corridor. She stepped forward, her face filled with both anger and resolve. Zarkon, you will not take my daughter from me. Not today. Zarkon himself appeared, standing at the back of the group of soldiers, his eyes burning with hatred. You're too weak, Aurelira. Your people will see it, and they will follow. Me. You're wrong, Aurelira said, her voice steady and strong. You've underestimated my daughter. You've underestimated me. Without another word, she turned to Jack. Go, take Serena to the escape pods. I will handle this. Jack hesitated. Are you sure? I'm sure, Aurelira replied. Go, before it's too late. Jack looked at Serena, who nodded. He didn't want to leave the Queen behind, but he knew that this was their only chance. Stay. Safe, Jack said, looking back at Aurelira. I'll be back for you. Aurelia nodded. I know. With that, Jack turned and helped Serena toward the escape pods. They ran, their footsteps echoing down the corridor as the sounds of battle grew louder behind them. The ship was falling apart, and Jack had no idea how much longer it would hold together. They reached the escape pod bay, where several pods stood waiting. Jack helped Serena into one, securing her safely inside. He climbed into the pod beside her, his hands shaking from adrenaline. As the hatch closed, he saw the stars outside the cold. It's an endless void that was their only hope now. We'll be safe, Jack said, trying to reassure her, though he didn't feel reassured himself. He launched the pod, and they shied away from the ship, leaving the chaos behind, as they drifted into the calm of space. Jack watched the Varelian ship grow smaller, and the sounds of battle faded into silence. But he knew this wasn't over. They had escaped for now. But Zarkon's war was far from finished, and Jack wasn't about to let that war take away the family he had found in the stars. The escape pod hummed quietly as it floated through the cold expanse of space. Jack Mercer sat next to Serena, watching the stars drift by. Her face was pale, but her breathing was steady, and for the first time in days, she seemed at peace. He glanced at the small control panel in front of him. The pod systems were still operational, but the communication links were down. They were alone in the vastness of space. We're safe for now, Jack said, more to himself than to Serena. The sounds of battle had faded when they escaped. The Varelian ship, but Jack's mind was still racing. Zarkon's forces were out there somewhere, and he knew they wouldn't stop until they had captured Serena and the Queen. But for the moment, all he could do was keep her safe. Serena shifted, slightly in her seat, her eyes fluttering open. She looked around confused at first, and then her gaze settled on Jack. Jack, she whispered, her voice soft. Jack turned to her, a small smile tugging at his lips. Hey, you're awake. What do you feel? Serena tried to sit up, but her body was still weak. I feel strange. It's like my body is changing. Jack nodded. It is. The healing process is still going on. But you're stronger now. You've made it through the worst. She looked at him, her eyes filled with gratitude. You saved me again. I don't know what I would have done without you. Jack shook his head. You saved yourself, Serena. I just helped you get there. She smiled weakly. You're more than just a helper. You're like a protector. Jack's heart ached. Had never thought of himself that way, but hearing it from her made him realize how much. He truly cared. This young princess, once just a memory from a past mission, had become a part of his life. A part of his future. Hours passed, and the escape pod glided farther into space. Jack kept an eye on the control systems, monitoring the path they were on. They were heading toward a nearby moon, a small, uninhabited place where they could rest and regroup. He wasn't sure what the next step was, but he knew they couldn't stay in space forever. They had to find allies, and fast. Are you feeling better? Jack asked, breaking the silence. Serena looked at him, her eyes clearer. Now, yes, I think so. But something's different. I can feel. More than I did before. It's like my senses are sharper. I can feel your presence even without seeing you. It's strange. Jack frowned. You mean the bond? She nodded. Yes, the connection we have. It's stronger than ever. Jack's mind raced. The bond between them had always been there, but now it felt more like a living thing, something that couldn't be ignored. He didn't fully understand it, but he knew one thing. It was powerful. And it might be the key to saving her and to defeating Zarkon. I think it's part of what makes you different now, Jack said. You're not just Varelian anymore. You're part human too. And that bond, something neither of us fully understand, but I think it's helping you heal. Serena closed her eyes, and for a moment she looked peaceful. Then her eyes snapped open, and a strange look crossed her face. Jack, she said, her voice low. There's something wrong. I can feel it. Zarkon's forces are still hunting us. They're closer than we think. Jack's heart skipped. A beat? How do you know that? I don't know, she whispered. It's like a shadow following us, moving closer. I can sense it. Jack stood up, his mind racing. We need to move now. Get ready. We're landing on that moon, but we can't stay long. We need to figure out what's next. Serena nodded. I'll be ready. The escape pod descended toward the moon's surface. It was rocky and desolate, far from any major space routes. It's a perfect place to hide, at least for now. As the pod touched down with a soft thud, Jack looked at Serena. Her face was pale again, and she was trembling. Slightly. Stay here. I'll check the surroundings, Jack said, unstrapping himself from the seat. Serena's eyes locked onto his. Be careful, Jack. I can feel it. The danger is closer. Jack nodded, though he wasn't sure what she meant. He'd never heard of anyone having a sense like that, but Serena was different. Her hybrid blood was changing her in ways one fully understood. He opened the hatch and stepped out onto the barren moon. The ground was dusty, and the sky was dark, dotted with distant stars. He scanned the horizon, his hand resting on the weapon at his side. He didn't know if Zarkon's forces would find them here, but he wasn't taking any chances. The sound of footsteps behind him made him turn. Serena was standing in the doorway of the pod, her face pale but determined. I'm coming with you. She said. Serena, no, Jack said. You need to rest. I'll handle this. But she shook her head. Can't just stay inside. I know something is wrong. You can't face this alone. Jack hesitated, then sighed. All right, but stay close. I'll protect you. The two of them moved cautiously across the surface of the moon, keeping their eyes peeled for any signs of danger. The air was still, and there was nothing but the faint light of distant stars to guide them. Suddenly Serena stopped, her eyes wide with fear. Jack, I can feel them. They're here. Before Jack could react, a group of shadowy figures appeared on the horizon. They were moving fast, too fast. Zarkon's soldiers had found them. Jack Mercer stood in front of Serena, shielding her with his body. Dust swirled around them on the rocky moon. In the distance, 5 soldiers marched toward them, their black armor glowing under the cold light of the stars. Zarkon had found them, Serena's. Breathing was heavy, but her eyes were calm. They're here for me, she whispered. Not for you. Jack shook his head. Doesn't matter. They'll have to get through me first. He pulled out the small energy blaster from his side and pointed it at the soldiers. His hand was steady, but his heart was pounding. He knew he was outnumbered. Still, he would fight. As the soldiers closed in, one of them raised a communicator. A deep voice echoed through it. "Surrender the princess. Do this and you may live." Jack stepped forward. "Tell Zarkon he can't have her." The soldier didn't answer. Instead, the group began to spread out, forming a circle. Serena placed her hand on Jack's shoulder. "Jack, wait." Jack glanced back. Her eyes were glowing now bright. Like twin stars, a strange warmth filled the air around them. The ground under her feet began to shine with soft blue light. "I feel something," she said. "It's inside me. It's growing." The soldiers paused. Sensing something was wrong, Serena stepped out from behind Jack. Her body was glowing brighter, and the dust in the air started to rise, as if pulled by her energy. Her voice became stronger. "I'm not afraid," she said. "I am not weak." The lead soldier took a step back. "What is this?" Jack watched in awe. Serena was changing before his eyes. Her hybrid blood, once a danger to her life, was now awakening something powerful. She lifted her hands, and a wave of energy burst outward, knocking the soldiers to the ground. The glow faded. The soldiers groaned and tried to get up, but Serena raised her hand again. They stopped moving, frozen in place by her will. "I won't hurt you," she said. "But you will go back and tell Zarkon that his rule is over." "Ah!" The soldiers nodded. Slowly, fear in their eyes. Then, one by one, they backed away and ran into the shadows. Jack rushed to Serena's side. "Are you all right?" She nodded, though she looked tired. "I didn't know I could do that." "You just saved both of us," Jack said with a proud smile. "You're stronger than any of us thought." Serena looked up at the stars. "It's not just power, it's purpose. I can feel everything. Now life, light, hope. I want to help my people." Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. "And you will. We'll find a way to stop Zarkon for good." The next day, a Varelian scout ship arrived on the moon. The Queen had survived the attack and taken back control of part of the royal fleet. She had been searching for Serena ever since the escape pod vanished. When the Queen stepped out of the ship and saw her daughter alive, her eyes filled with tears. "Serena," she whispered. "Mother," Serena said, rushing into her arms. They hugged for a long time, and Jack stood nearby, watching with a soft smile. It felt like the end of a long storm. Queen Aurelia looked at Jack. "You kept your promise." Jack nodded. "Said I would protect her, and I meant it." "You've done more than protect her," Rulira said. "Wakened something in her, something powerful and good. Our people owe you a debt we can never repay." Jack looked at Serena. "Just make sure she has the future she deserves." Back aboard the royal flagship, Serena was welcomed as a hero. Her healing had become a miracle to her people. News of her awakening spread across Varelia like fire. The citizens, once afraid, now had hope again. Zarkon, hearing of her return and her new powers, tried to hold on to his stolen power. But his supporters began to leave him. The people no longer wanted war. They wanted peace. And they trusted Serena to lead them. One by one, starships returned to the Queen's side. Zarkon's armies began to shrink. The rebellion fell apart. Without a battle and a final message, Zarkon disappeared into the edge of space. He was never seen again. Weeks later, a celebration was held in the capital city of Varelia. The sky was filled with lights, and the towers glowed with color. Music floated in the air, and people danced in the streets. Queen Aurelia stood on a high platform with Serena at her side. The people cheered their names. Serena held Jack's hand, bringing him forward. "This is Jack Mercer," she said. "He came from Earth, a world far away. He gave me his strength, his time, and his heart. Without him, I would not be here today." The crowd roared with joy. The Queen raised her voice. "We name him Starfather, protector of the future and friend of Varelia." Jack felt humbled as the people bowed before him. He had never wanted fame. But now he had something better: family, purpose, and peace. Later that night, as the stars shined above, Jack stood alone on a balcony. Serena joined him, her robe glowing softly in the moonlight. "You could stay," she said quietly. Jack smiled. "I might, for a while." She looked at him. "You'll always have a place here." He looked out at the stars. "I never thought I'd find a second home. But maybe this was meant to be." Serena took his hand. "The bond between us. It's more than healing. It's hope." And as they stood together, two worlds united by one choice, the stars seemed to shine just a little brighter